What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of the Procedurally Generated show, the show about the random history of video games. My name is Chris Weber, and I'm here with John Carson.
Hey, Chris. How's it going?
It's good. It is a good day.
Good.
But welcome, guys. Welcome. Like you said, we were just discussing before we made the thing go. We're coming up on 10 episodes. Obviously, we're still 3 weeks out, but that's going to fall on the new year, and I think the timing of that is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's neat.
What a trip it's been.
Lucky number 7 this
That's right.
week, though.
Let's get right into it. This could be this. We've said this before. This might be a short one, or it might end up being our longest.
It depends on if something triggers a rant from either one of us.
True.
So we'll see it when or if it happens.
But this week we've been making a habit of giving you guys the update on whether or not Chris has a PlayStation 5. So this week's update is no, I still don't have a PlayStation 5.
No.
And
despite everything that we've tried, Walmart is still not giving up the ghost. That's not even the right
no,
term
that would mean
for that.
Walmart would
Anyways, which won't happen for a long time, I'm sure. I will say, Chris, that I did have a good lead that I have not heard back from. I am it is within my family, so hopefully I can.
And your
hear
family
back.
is my family, so this is just how this.
That's right. Due to podcast law, your family is my family.
If I find out that he has one and he or she has one and they gave it to somebody else, I mean that's
so
punishable by death.
The thing was, he was checking to see if he could get a trade for the disc one.
Oh, okay.
And then pay the additional cash or whatever for that.
So he's got the digital.
We'll see if it comes through or not. He has the digital
but
one.
Doesn't want the. Wow. Okay. Okay.
He doesn't want the digital one.
All
right. He's someone who collects a lot of games, so having the disc
that makes sense.
Be beneficial to him. Yes. So, yeah, I will keep you updated on that. I don't know if that's gonna come to fruition or not. I'm keeping my ears out. Anybody listening to this, please reach out to Chris if you know the whereabouts of a discless PS5. Thank you very much. I guess that's your quick update on his PS5 status.
Yes.
Chris, do you want to talk about what you've been playing this week? Because I know you've been playing it more than I have.
Yeah. I mean, so this was a big week. This was a week that a lot of people have been waiting for at least 8 years. This week saw the release of Cyberpunk 2077.
It's true.
And
it came out, kind of.
I mean, it came out.
In a state, yes.
Some work needs to be done. But there's a video game there that exists. And you know what? To be completely honest with you, I have had an amazing time with it. There are some bugs. There are some glitches. Look anywhere on the internet. Type in Cyberpunk 2077, and you'll see that these things exist. I've even posted some on my Twitter.
A lot of the glitches are fun, though, which is good.
Yes. I've run into invisible walls in the middle of a city. I have seen when I first got to a point where I could actually navigate my character around, got into a car, and immediately saw some two guys levitating in the middle of the road with one guy on top of another guy's shoulders. And I was
like he was trying to piggyback him.
It was. I was like, this is the future. This is it. We did
incredible. I saw a video yesterday of a car just flying out of nowhere from behind multiple buildings and up and over them and crash into a building right behind the player. That's the bugs you got to keep.
Yeah, I mean it's the between the bugs and the glitches and the literal billions of marital aids strewn about. It is a game to experience.
Wow, There's a lot of psychiatrists in there, like family psychiatrists.
Physical marital aids. Eggplant shaped
Oh,
marital aids. I have
gotcha.
said the
Okay,
word
all
dildo
right.
so many times this week. I really didn't want to say it again.
Well, you did.
I know.
Now we have to change the classification of our
Mhm.
podcast.
I'm
Thanks,
sorry.
Chris. I don't know how to put a beep in, so this is
Hey,
on
all right.
you.
Well, hey, it took us till episode 7, so that's a good thing. I just got to trial by fire. We'll get through this.
Yeah.
But no, the game is fun. It took a little while to get going, but once it got going, I was like, okay, we're in. Let's not stop this train. So I feel
Mhm.
bad. I'm playing on a Series X. The people that are playing on the traditional Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are having seems like a worse time with it.
A rough time,
So
yeah.
but Cyberpunk, the developers, CD Projekt Red, did something that I haven't seen developers do in a long time, ever maybe, where they put out a message saying, you know what, this shouldn't have happened the way it happened, and we are willing to refund for those that feel like they did not have a chance to make an informed decision. Now, there's
I
different takes on
I
that.
I have a mild
Yep,
problem with
I don't
that.
think you're alone. At first glance, it sounds like a good
And
thing, but what is your beef?
yeah, so I originally bought this game on Series X. Haven't played it on there. After I started seeing a lot of like graphical comparisons and hearing about the different versions between like console and PC and how like the PC game looks dramatically different than the console games. And granted, the from what I've also seen, the Series X version is the best version of the game on consoles and would probably be fine. And I'm just getting too in the weeds with my new snobbery of graphics. Um, but now that I own 2 copies of this game, I kind of want to try to get a refund on the Xbox version, but I think that's super tough to do on consoles. Um, I've heard of PlayStation having a better way of returning digital copies, um, but typically that's not something you can do. I know you can on Steam, but I've looked into it a little bit for Xbox, and it doesn't seem to be a typical thing that you can do. Also, if you bought this game physically, and you had opened it, 99% of the time, retailers aren't going to take back a game once it's been
Right.
opened. So there's a lot of like, oh yeah, you can get a refund, but it's like you really can't in most cases. And I don't know what CDPR is actually doing uh, to help people get
Mhm.
refunds if they're working with like the Best Buys and Targets and GameStops of the world. Or if they're just going to be issuing refunds themselves or like store credit somehow. But I feel like that's quite a bit of a mess, especially since they didn't show the console versions of this game before release, like at all. Everything's been the PC
Yeah, and
version.
that is the biggest problem that I see is what this it's so hard to for I have a hard time criticizing developers, especially developers of a game that is this size, this scale, this scope. Um, bugs are going to happen, issues are going to happen, but the fact that the
Totally.
console versions were untouched by reviewers prior to release date, um, and they were of such a low quality, I mean, there was some deceptive practices there, and this, to see the message come out from CD Projekt Red was both good and encouraging, but at the same time, you can't help but wonder if they had something like this ready to go because they knew the pushback they were going to get. It's a lot easier, and I hate to think of the world this way. I don't do this.
To ask for
Yeah, it's
forgiveness.
easier to ask for forgiveness. It's easier to have cash in hand from pre-orders,
Yeah.
um, which, by the way, they recouped all of their development costs in one day. Um,
Hmm.
so it's a lot easier to offer refunds when you can tote something like that. But the fact that this is the plan that they're taking, and they've kind of they're quote unquote owning up to it, but they are putting it on Microsoft and Sony to follow through with some sort of refund policy for the thing that they've announced now. They've created a very bad situation, and do I think nobody who made the game is at fault? The people that marketed and ultimately the higher ups, the people that run CD Projekt Red, they're the ones who should have their feet held to the fire for this whole situation.
Well, I would also I would put it towards some of the people who developed it because of the low quality of the console versions. Like they said in that statement, like apologizing for how the game is on those platforms, that they didn't spend enough time working on those, and that they were apparently an afterthought. So those versions were like half of the pre-orders that were available for this game. So yeah, I would put it partially towards them, for not either making the game run appropriately, because like on Xbox One, like original base Xbox One and base PS4, a lot of the times you're pushing 20 frames per second or less. Um, so there is some fault to be taken there. I know everyone says that that CD Projekt Red is really great at updating and patching and like enhancing their games after they come out, but it shouldn't be the case that they need to immediately after the game comes out. It should be a working game to
Right.
begin with.
I agree with that. And I guess
Um,
the biggest the point that I was trying to make was um, the the release dates that were set and pushed, set and pushed, set and pushed. Um, it's clear that work still needed to happen, and that's I guess that's what I mean when I say it's hard for me to blame the developers who obviously, because of the timing of these release dates getting pushed back, somebody
yeah,
up top finally said, "This is it. This is the date. We have to go."
yeah, and the complications of this year. You can't
Yeah,
really, I guess, talk about this without factoring in people for working from home and the complications with all of that.
absolutely.
Um,
I could not imagine. I can barely work a job that is literally I done it.
that isn't in
Yeah,
game
this should be an
development.
easier job from home, and I'm like, I hate this. It sucks. So
um, but I feel like what I have seen of this game, I like. Um, I have been trying to fiddle with it on PC to make it look right, and I was kind of waiting for people smarter than I am to determine what settings are right for my video card. And I think we're just about there. I did find a setting to do variable uh, variable resolution,
okay, yep,
and like set a target frame rate, which is great. So hopefully that'll solve a lot of my issues that I've been having performance wise with my PC. But also, this game's just a
it is. This
beast.
game has got so many things going on in it, and that was the biggest reason where I was like, okay, I've got to get this for Series X because I mean I have a pretty powerful gaming and streaming computer, but the idea of
Right.
running this game and streaming it at the same time, I was like, that's it's impossible. I'll run it through a capture card,
Yeah.
let the Xbox
Yep.
do the hard work, let the computer just do the streaming, and we're good. And I'm glad that I went that way. I think that's the best way for me. And again, the game will continue to get better, but I feel for those that are getting a less than good experience.
Right. I will say that as because I own a Series X and that's what I bought it to play on originally. Um, it's nice that that version is going to be upgraded to a full Series X version. Currently, it's the Xbox One
Yes.
version. What's very interesting about this game is they have code in there that lets it know what console it's playing on. So it has some sort of like Gen 9
Hmm.
unlock where it'll let you, I think it unlocks the frame rate. It uh, makes some graphical changes. There's a lot of different stuff that if you go between like an Xbox One and a Series X, there's like a noticeable difference in like visuals. Same thing with like a PS4 to a PS5, which that one was more surprising since PS5 doesn't really have uh, a smart delivery
Right.
service. Getting PS4 games working on PS5 are like you have to like download the PS5 version of the game. So it's interesting that that game actually has something that triggers because it's playing on a PS5. So I hope more developers can use stuff like that without having to do like the full like next gen version if they can't yet. Um, so actually, just developers, please put in like a frame rate unlocker or something to all of your games.
Yeah, I think
That'd be great.
I actually saw something running. I couldn't figure out what game it was. I was watching like it was on like a Twitter thread, but they were playing something at 120 on Xbox, and the developer
Hmm.
just pushed out an update, and it was working. So
It's great.
if that kind of capability exists, that's what this generation is going to be. That's the stuff. It's not going to
I hope
be
so. I really
another
hope so.
step, and maybe there's some graphical fidelity upgrades and things like that, but it's going to be the load time. It's going to be the frame rate.
I think we're gonna get both. I think it's the generation of both of those
Yeah.
things. We're finally we're finally caught up CPU wise to what developers want to do or what developers have been doing on PC. And I think a lot of the graphical stuff, anything that's related to the GPU, yeah, I think they just released a new update to the ray tracing stuff on consoles. So I believe more developers can utilize the ray tracing technology without having to overburden the consoles so early in the life cycle. Because I've been seeing that seems to be an issue. It's like you're running games at 30 with ray tracing or not at all. Except for like I think it was last week, Insomniac updated Spider-Man Miles Morales to run at 60 with ray tracing in a special mode. So it's cool to see developers kind of start to work with these new technologies and get them to work
Yeah.
properly. It's going to be a long and interesting generation, I think.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, the amount of games on the
Yeah.
horizon, it's every console has its hiccups in the beginning.
Mhm.
This could be an entirely different story if this was a game that was released at the end of the generation, but you know what? I hope that everybody involved learns from it and it makes the generation better
Yep.
overall. So, but
Mhm.
Cyberpunk is not the only thing that I've been playing.
No.
After weeks of buildup, I finally rolled credits on Hades. Um,
Good.
and that was good. Now there's plenty of stuff to do still. The game did not end, but I got to see credits. And I would absolutely recommend anybody play that game. That is my 2020 game of the year, which I know we're going to be talking about. But
Wow.
yeah,
Ooh, that went from not on your radar at
yeah,
all like a month ago to
yeah.
game of the year. All right.
So that's
Good. Excellent. I like
and
it.
it
I like that
what
a lot.
what Hades did for me too. It did. Not only was it the game that I'm going to probably end up calling my 2020 game of the year. Um,
Mhm.
Joining Disco Elysium from last year as the only two game of the years that I've actually officially recognized. Um, the thing that it did was it made me realize, much like a couple of weeks ago, where I was like, I don't play everything. The little spiel I went on the podcast.
Right.
While I don't play everything, I want to play more. Um, and I took some steps this week to doing that. I've been so tied into the streaming games and only playing games on stream that I pushed myself away from that a little bit, um, and have started playing some games that I know have been talked about. I've just never jumped into, and some of these are gonna.
Well, yeah. Discord said that you've been playing World of
Yeah,
Warcraft all
it's
day.
my
Huh?
Discord is broken. Um, no, Kate, my wife played some World of Warcraft last night, and she was on the stream doing it because this I was doing exactly what I was just talking about. I was actually playing some games off stream to get a little more familiar with them. And now my Discord says I'm perpetually playing World of Warcraft.
Which is an
It's a
improvement,
curse I can't get rid of.
to be honest. Kate on your stream, you playing World of Warcraft. Yep, it's huge improvement.
But yeah, so Hades opened me up to some other things. So I have like I took this okay, procedurally generated. You get the concept. Massive
Mhm.
list of games, randomized. What I did is I made a smaller list of all the games that I not own but have access to. So all of the games that I have available on PC and Xbox Game Pass, all the ones that I've gotten from Twitch over the years, all the ones that I've got on Steam, and all that stuff. I put them into a big list, which the size of this list was actually very surprising. If I wanted to, if I wanted to, and I could boot up any one of 848 games, and that's not even the complete list.
It's a
That
lot.
I can just play. What a world we live in. But as I was doing that, I was working through like a couple of games that I've tried. Observation. I had
Yeah.
multiple reasons to try that one because I also did the
Well, I
Stories
mean,
Untold
stories
playthrough.
untold.
But
Yeah.
that's from NoCode, the developers of Stories Untold. That game's off to a great start. It's going to be on the stream at some point. I actually went back and
Awesome.
played Recore. Do you remember that game?
Yeah. Oh, I've always
You
wanted to
know,
play it. I never did though. It seemed super up
it,
my
it caught
alley.
some grief when it released, but I feel pretty good about the opening. It's got things in there that I think I could get into, so I think that's a game I might feature. There's a game called Xenocrisis, which it reminded me of like a 2D. Um, well, not 2D. It
That
reminded
sounds
me of Super
familiar.
Smash Brothers. No. Sorry. Super Smash TV. Um, those are
Oh, okay.
very
That's way
different
different.
games. um, so I gave that one a shot. Cave Story Plus. Uh, Widely considered one of the best rogue. They said roguelites that ever been made, and I'd never even heard of it. So
Is it a
that's
roguelite?
that's what they.
I thought it was more of a
That's the
Metroidvania.
vibe that I got. So we'll.
Yeah.
Either
That's
way, I thought it was cool as hell, and it's something I'll probably feature
I
as
could be
well.
wrong.
And then
Yeah.
as I jumped into the to get ready to recording this, I was playing um, Rogue Legacy for the first time. That game's dope as hell. We're gonna play that too. So
That's a
these are
good
all games I'd heard such good things about, but I'd never just taken the time to try them out. And I think having Hades surprised me the way it did and opened me up to the idea that
Mhm.
there's a lot of games out there that maybe I would like if I just gave it a shot. I mean, there's 4 right there that I had sitting here and I'd never even considered it. So,
Right.
um, very exciting stuff. And then I also started a game. A lot of people love this game called Subnautica. Um, First impressions for me are not great. I don't know if I'll stick with it, but I'm going to give it one more shot on the next stream, just to see it.
I feel like like survival games like that are
Yeah,
hit and miss. Very hit and
yeah.
miss.
So we're gonna give it one more shot. We're gonna see if it clicks. If it doesn't, I'm okay with putting it down. I didn't want to quit on it too early though, because I know I had some people in the chat. They're like, please, just gotta go a little further. And I'm like, all right, fine, we'll go a little further. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. So that could be a success story in the end. And then obviously we're playing some Final Fantasy 14 still, which I'm so woefully far behind. I've just accepted that I will always be. I will play that game for the rest of my life. That's just how.
I've rolled credits on A Realm Reborn. So, I think I checked my time. I've played like somewhere around like 35 hours or
Okay.
more since we started that.
All
So,
right.
leveling's actually pretty quick if you just stick with the main
That's my problem.
story. We've been pressuring people in Cryophilic to stick with the main story, stick with your class quests, and like that's it. Because you're gonna overlevel. You're gonna get to where you need to go, and then you could save all of the side quests for all of your other classes that you level. Chris is taking the opportunity to grab every quest he
Mhm.
sees, and every class, which is you should probably gather every class. That makes
Got
sense.
that. I've got all 20 of the classes. And it's we're getting there.
It actually, you know what? Play it how you
Yeah,
want.
that's the biggest thing.
That's
That
what's nice
was
about MMOs, and especially that game. Like, if you want it for the story, cool, do that. If you want it uh, for glamour and fashion and all that, do that stuff. If you want it for rating, get to the end game, uh, cruise up to level 80 and do your thing. Um, I think Final Fantasy 14 is a great game I know in MMOs they say it a lot, like, oh, you can do whatever you want in it. I feel like it has more flexibility for non-combat related things than something like World of Warcraft. Unless you're just hanging out in the auction house
Well, I mean,
constantly.
that's just
But
it. Like every side quest that I have done, I've only completed as one of my, you know, DPS classes.
yeah.
Because what is it? The trait of the hand, or the hand job.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
God.
What? Excuse me.
the uh the
18 plus,
jobs that
folks.
require the hands. What are they
There's
called?
like the jobs with the hand, jobs of the jobs of
Ah,
the hand.
jeez.
Uh,
Anyways, you can level those up without leaving the room that you start in. So there's no, I mean, there's really, you have to, some of them you have to go out and gather some things, but for the crafting and things like that, you can go up 10 levels in 5 minutes if you wanted to. So, um, but yes, that's basically what I've been playing this week. Yes.
excellent. I've played some of that stuff. I played a little bit of Cyberpunk. It was like an hour. I've done like the first quest with Jackie. I'm like right after that, but the rest of my time's been like tweaking graphical settings in there. Played 14, like I said, got through the original game in 14. Working my way through Heaven's Word, or to Heaven's Word. I have quite a few quests to do to get there. And yeah, I played some WoW. That's just going to keep going for a while, so I probably won't talk about it too much here. And I played a couple of the games that we are going to talk about today.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's mainly it. I think played some Magic too.
Okay.
But that's also going to be just an everlasting thing.
Nice.
So no one wants to talk, or no one wants to hear me talk about Magic.
So before we really get into it, I want to direct you guys to the Discord. Basically, for the last every episode we've done, I keep finding some new resources, some new things to pull from, some things to add in there. We found a repository for some old video game manuals, and then that led into finding some stuff that I think just makes it makes these games look so awesome. And a lot of them are like little time capsule things that you forgot would have existed. So if you guys are listening to this, please go back, check the Discord out. All of the episodes are still there. The last 5 episodes are near the top of the Discord. Any that are older, so basically right now, episode 1 and 2, and then by the time this drops, episode 3 will all be at the bottom of the channel list under a spot that says archive. But they've all been updated this week with stuff that I've continued to dig up and find. And I invite you guys to, if you find cool things about any of these games, send it to us. We'd be happy to feature it in the Discord and eventually on the blog when we get that up and rolling. But this week especially, go through the Discord, check out all the cool stuff that we've added in there. It's a lot of fun. Also, we don't have a community section this week. There were no new emails that came in. So before we roll straight into the games here, if you enjoy the show, I've said it every week, please go ahead and leave us a 5-star review, or a positive review on whatever podcast listening app you're using. It means the world to us. We were on a little bit of a downtrend for listens, but this week we're back up again, and it's fun to see. It's fun to see that hill go back up. If you want to reach out and be a part of the show, you can reach out to us on our Patreon, patreon.com/procedurally generated. You can check out our Twitter at PG_show. You can send us an email at pgshowinbox@gmail.com. And as I've already discussed, the Discord. Feel free to send any messages in there. Did I miss anything, John?
Not that I
All
can
right.
think of.
Well, without further ado, let's get into the games. What
Woo.
say ye?
Let's go.
All right. So our first game is one that I had never heard of coming into this.
Same.
We have a side-scrolling shooter released in 1989. This version, the original version was released in 1988, and then there was a version ported to Virtual Console in 2007. We are looking at the TurboGrafx 16 version of a game called Ordyne, developed by Namco, published by NEC Technologies, which I think is also Namco.
Namco.
Originally released on the arcade, and like I said, was eventually made it over to the Wii.
It did. And technically the PlayStation.
Did it make it to the PlayStation?
It did via the Namco
right,
Museum
yes.
Volume 4, which like wouldn't just normally show up because it's part of a collection. But yeah, it might be on other Namco Museum collections. I'm not sure. But yeah.
So there you go. Ordyne. I'll just kind of read the description here. It's a horizontal side-scrolling shoot 'em up. Now they say this. It's also considered a cute 'em up.
It's very okay.
Cute. I guess it did look.
The game is very cute. It's colorful. There's a lot of cool, big sprites. It's a cute shmup.
It puts players in the role of Yuichiro Tomari, a genius scientist, and Sunday Chin, his faithful assistant. The two heroes must rescue Tomari's fiancée, Kana Aibara, from the evil Dr. Kubota. So there's your setup.
Nailed it.
There's your story.
Uh-huh.
And I realized my first note under here is actually, yes, it was released as part of the Namco Museum Volume 4 for the PlayStation in 1996. I knew it the whole time.
Thank you for... Yes.
So I found in fandom, I found some interesting factoids about the characters, and I thought they were very important so that we truly understand the characters in this game. The main character, Yuichiro Tomari, is a heavy smoker, and he likes tuna spaghetti. So, yeah.
Gross.
I don't actually...
About the tuna spaghetti, I've been a heavy smoker in the past, so I can't really judge. But tuna spaghetti...
That sounds terrible.
It sounds awful.
I don't know if I want this guy to be my main protagonist anymore. Player 2, Sunday Chin, his favorite food is ebi chili sauce. Ebi chili sauce? I don't know what that is, but Sunday was actually renamed to Felix Mockel in the manual, and was given a different appearance as he was made to look like a blonde male.
In North America, or in the English release. Sorry, specifically the English.
And this was done likely to avoid reinforcing negative stereotypes portrayed by Chinese characters in English. And if you look at the characters,
he wears like
I was just going to say exactly what you were going to say. If you look at the characters before and after, it's like, oh yeah, that was probably a good change.
Yeah, Sunday Chin wears like a traditional Chinese garb, and it's like mostly bald except for like a hair braid.
Yeah.
And then Felix just looks like the dopiest little blonde kid.
If you want to see the pictures of the characters, they will be located in the Discord. The main character.
It looks like they changed the look of Yuichiro Tomari too on the box art.
Yeah, he went from fiery redhead to brown. That might be about it.
Yeah, that's weird. I wonder if that's just to appeal to the Western market.
Could be. But, that hair was red.
It was very red. It kind of reminded me of like Alex Kidd.
Oh, yeah,
a lot of the visuals in here look like Alex Kidd to me. And that's what I mean by like the game's kind of like colorful and cute. Everyone kind of has that chibi design where like big heads, small bodies.
Except for
everything is
weirdly normal compared to the rest of these people.
He still has a big head. He's very evil looking. And I guess the shopkeeper. You said
Kubota's got a if you go to the Discord and look at Kana.
Oh yeah, Kana's way normal.
She's
way
like
normal.
A normal human being.
Yep.
Let's see. This okay.
So we're digging for stuff on this one.
Yeah. Well, They had an interesting note about Kana. So her age is unknown,
Yeah.
but it says mentally she's 21, which
so, so she's
I don't.
33.
Well, it was either that. It's either she's 33 or you know she's not. The opposite direction. I just
I,
the way
I'm just going off this from my experience of being 33 and mentally I'm
exactly.
21.
Yes. No. Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Um,
Hmm.
in the TurboGrafx version, there's also a cheat that lets you play as her. So there's technically 3 characters.
Oh, it's awesome.
And Kubota, the main antagonist, is described as being the leader of an outer space gang.
It sounds awesome.
Love old 80s and 90s video game stories and setups. Just makes
Yes.
no sense.
Like, you don't need this to make sense. It's like, how do we get people into
Yeah.
airships? The main character is a scientist. He has a partner. They're both gonna fly airships. The bad guy looks like evil Vegeta with green hair and an eye patch and a suit. He wears a cape. He also flies ships.
Yeah.
Why
The
not?
suit and cape combo is an interesting one. I'm just,
I dig it.
yeah, I don't
I'd
know what
wear
he's
it.
going for.
Also, in this key art with Kubota and Kana is like the longest necklace in the world.
Uh,
I don't know if you see the one on the fandom page. It's like halfway down
I don't have fandom.
the images. With like, oh, okay. Kana's like being pulled out of one of her shoes, but she's wearing a necklace that's like 6 feet long.
High
It's
fashion.
insane. Now, so we mentioned this as a shmup, a lot like, or somewhat similar to Gradius that we talked about
Mhm.
last week.
That was last week.
Um, so shmups typically have like power ups and stuff, and so for this game, you whenever you defeat enemies, you can pick up crystals, which are your currency. You can bring crystals into the Sky Inn, which is spelled Skyin.
Wait, spell it again.
It's spelled
You broke my brain. Okay. Okay.
SKY
Space.
space
Sky in.
IN.
Okay. All right.
The Sky Inn. But when you speak to Miyuki-chan, who's the shop owner, it actually just says in properly in her dialogue. It's like INN, like it's a hotel or like a place to stay. Which is very weird that it's just regularly IN in the Japanese version. That's where you purchase your power ups. So you get perks for a limited time, like a spread shot or being able to fire in front of or behind you at the same time, or like uh, larger blasts of what looks like a giant green ghost that you shoot out in front of you. Um, they Once you purchase it from Yuki, you go back out into the world. You have a little meter that tells you how much time you have left of having that power up. So it's not permanent, which is good and bad, I guess. But it does carry over from like level to level, as you, if you still have it at the end.
Hmm. I just
Yeah, I
I
don't know.
I saw a screenshot of him in the shop too before I realized what kind of game this was, and I confused me because I didn't know what kind of game this was.
What?
I wasn't expecting that kind of
It's an
view.
RPG. Yeah, it's weird. Like the Sky Inn will appear in the middle of levels, and it's like this little like circle that you fly into. It shows up a few times per level. This game does have 7 levels in it. Each level has a boss at the end, um, which is typically just a large ship that you have to shoot the weak spot on. Nothing too crazy or innovative for anything that's going on here. I think it just looks nice. The music's all right. Uh, Say if you're looking for a new shmup to try, this might actually be a nice easy one to try out.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you can still play today. It's also it holds the distinct honor, I think, of being our first TurboGrafx 16 game on the list. So
I
that's
believe so.
exciting.
Yeah.
Um, and Pac-Man makes a cameo.
Sure does.
Now, that's going to kind of take me into the development stuff. Do you have anything else that you want to offer about the gameplay?
Not really.
So why is Pac-Man in this game? Well,
Mhm.
this game was developed by Namco. And so I want to go into Namco a little bit because maybe people know this, maybe they don't. But we covered the term prolific back on like maybe episode 1 or
We
episode
sure
2,
we sure
where
did.
we needed to have a better understanding of
It
what
means
prolific meant.
Chris, it means
It
a
does
lot.
mean a lot. And Namco is the definition of prolific, but they've also done, I mean, it's not only
That's true.
prolific, but it's a
That's
lot
very
of
true.
just well-known games. So let me go
Yeah.
into a little bit. So Namco started as Nakamura Manufacturing in 1955. Okay. They used to run children's rides on the roof of a department store. That's how they started. I did not know that.
I
In
didn't know that.
1958, they changed their name to Nakamura Manufacturing Company, which is eventually shortened to Namco. So that's where Namco comes from. The first game they ever created was back in 1970. And it was a coin-operated mechanical driving simulator called Racer. And then they went on to, kind of do their thing for a while, and eventually they merged with Bandai. So now you'll find them as Namco Bandai. But they had 378 games to their credit on Moby. So there's obviously going to be some winners
That's
there.
it?
And this is for both developer and publisher credits. So I thought,
Yeah.
instead of like just kind of picking and choosing some of these, I figured we would go. We set this podcast up to start include things from 1985 and beyond. We've bridged that gap a little bit. We've gone down to the 80s and things like that, early 80s. But I figured, why don't we grab one game from 1985 all the way through to when they merged with Bandai, 2005.
Mhm.
So we got 20 games here, and this is just to show you how much Namco has really influenced video games, the whole culture with the games that they've released. So we'll go
Yep.
through this one by one. 1985, they released a little game called Paperboy. Okay.
Yep.
1986, RBI Baseball. Now they had
Mhm.
multiple releases every year. I tried to grab the biggest release from every year, the game or the release that stood out to me the most. 1987, Digital Devil Story Megami Tensei. Okay.
Wait, what? Did they
They
just
published it.
publish that or
Sorry, these are all games that they had a
Oh.
hand in either a publishing
Oh,
or
okay, I'm like,
developing
that's
aspect. Yeah, sorry. Good point.
very
1988, Splatterhouse. 1989, Bad Dudes. That might have been a bad game, but I remember it fondly from my youth.
it is not bad, dude, sorry.
1990, Digital Devil Story Megami Tensei 2. 1991, Rolling Thunder 2. That one, that was a light year for me. 92 was Splatterhouse 2. 1993, Ridge
Oh,
Racer. 1994,
yeah.
Tekken. 1995,
Mhm.
the first in the series, Tales of Fantasia. 1996, Time Crisis. 97 was a big year. We had Tekken 3, we had Time Crisis 2, we had Tales of Destiny. 1998, Soul Calibur. 1999, Jammer Lammy. Yeah.
What? They had what did they do in Jammer Lammy?
That one might have been.
Oh, they did the arcade
Oh, did they?
version of
Okay.
it. Weird, yeah.
2000, we had Ridge Racer 5, Tales of Destiny 2, 2001, Tekken 4, 2002, Xenosaga Episode 1, which I think that was publishing as well.
Come back to me, Cosmos. No, they yeah, they published that because that
Monolith,
was
yeah.
Monolith.
And then they also did Dead to Rights that year. 2003, Tales of Symphonia and Donkey Konga. 2004, Katamari Damacy,
You broke me with that.
Dead to Rights.
Dead to Rights. Like, well-known game, Dead to Rights.
In 2004, we had
Uh,
Katamari Damacy, Xenosaga 2, Tekken 5, and 2005 we had We Love Katamari and Ridge Racer 6. So just having a hand in the release of some pretty big games that's a 20-year stretch. Now that doesn't touch on all of the other games that they released, and it doesn't. They were credited as Bandai. I'm sorry, as Namco Limited on a couple games after 2005. But knowing that the merger already took place, I didn't include those on the list.
Sure. Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
I wanted to focus a little bit on Namco and just be like, hey, pay attention to what they've done to kind of put this industry where it is too. They've had a big hand in that.
Yeah. I will say that I guess also with development stuff for this game specifically, one of the producers for this was Masaya Nakamura, who was one of the he was the founder of Namco, and his credits for producing go on from Star Wars in 1987. I'm guessing that's the original arcade Star Wars. All the way to, let's see here, he produced Ordyne, executive producer on Ridge Racer 4, on Air Guys,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that game.
Mr. Driller, which is another 99 release, Mr. Driller 2, Klonoa 2, Xenosaga Episode 1. So he was an executive producer on it. A lot of the I'd say the modern Tales games, so Symphonia, Fantasia, Vesperia, Zillia, but he sadly passed away in 2017.
Oh, I did not know that.
So yeah, so he does have credits for In Memory of in Tekken 7, and a game that came out last year called Love Hero. So yeah, he stayed around for a long time and had his hand in a lot of great games.
Yeah.
So even though he founded the company, he was active.
And that's so strange too. Like to have started the company that used to run children's rides on a roof of a department store
Yeah.
to having a hand in the development of games in what as recent as 2015, 2016. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yep.
that's he never stopped, kind of learning, I guess. Odds are
Yeah.
he didn't
And
start that company. No,
and I don't know how much of that is like a credit for being the founder of the company. Like that's just automatic. Like put his name on it, or if he did have a hand, I feel like this is more he had a hand in it because he would have had, I think, a lot more games under the credits of him um, than he did if it was just like everything that Namco is putting out, like put him as executive producer, but doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's about all I have in terms of developer history.
Same.
And then if this is a game that you want to play, I found some copies on eBay for if you want physical pre-owned for $58.99. Is the TurboGrafx cartridge called a Hue card? I
Sounds
kept
familiar.
hearing it being
Probably.
referenced like Hue card only, and I'm like, is everybody spelling this wrong, or is this a term that I've never heard before? But for Hue card only, is between 40 and $50. Obviously, it is. Well, I guess Virtual Console on the Wii that's still a functioning thing, isn't it? Yeah,
It
so
is. Maybe.
so maybe
But
there.
it is available on PlayStation 3 and on Vita for $5.99 under the Namco
There you go.
Museum
That is
Collection.
probably your best bet.
So, and there's some little extras in there, like very very low resolution scans of images. Did you ever play the Namco Museums on PS1?
No, I don't think I ever did. I
So,
was a real gamer, John. I
oh
didn't
sure, okay.
mess around with the old retro stuff.
With the old toys. No, my dad was really into the Namco games, because he grew up with arcades and stuff. So he was always chasing certain versions of games. Always wanted to get him like a copy of Zaxxon. That's like always been the one that he's talked about. Like I want to try to get him a actual arcade cabinet of some sort at some point.
That's so cool, like
I
that
think it'd
your
be rad.
dad would appreciate something like that. That's
Oh yeah. But but he used to get the Namco museums back when it was like Volume 1 or Volume 2. They have this really neat interface. Like they have different modes where you can do just like you could just play the
Okay.
games, or they have a museum mode where you can go to different museum attractions. Like you walk around a 3D museum and then walk into different rooms that represent a different game, and there'll be like art on the wall so you can check out, or one of the rooms for Ordyne was actually the Sky Inn, and the shopkeeper was standing there and like
Oh,
greeting
that's
you,
cool.
and right next to it was the arcade cabinet, and then you can go and play the arcade version of the game.
Very cool.
It's very neat. I like those. I
Well,
like
if you
those a lot.
guys do, like I said, you should be in the Discord, especially for this week. A lot of good screen grabs, cover art, some promo stuff. But we talked about trying the game. There's a link at the very bottom for Ordyne that will take you to a place where you can try the game right there right over there over the internet. So
Nice.
there you go. That's one way to try it as well.
And I'd say if you have to use keyboard and mouse, this game would work
Yes,
fine for
this would
keyboard.
be okay.
It's yeah,
All right, John.
cool. Ordyne.
Let's move on to our second game. You want to go ahead and introduce this one?
Sure. The second game is a Game Boy Advance Sonic title, Sonic the Hedgehog. This one is Sonic Battle, developed by Sonic Team. Released in it was released January 5th, 2004 in North America, December 4th, 2003 in Japan, February 27th, 2004 in the PAL territories. Sonic Battle is a 3D-ish arena brawler, which is very odd.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Like watching videos of this, I'm pretty sure I played this at the time. I have no recollection of it whatsoever. But you have a 3D map that you're working with, and you're brawling with 2 to 3 other characters. You have jumps and you have attacks. I'm trying to think of what a good parallel
When
to
I
it would
looked at
be.
it, it looked okay. It was 2D 2D sprites
2D
on a
sprites.
3D
Yes.
background.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
gameplay aside, don't think of gameplay, but I thought Final Fantasy Tactics.
It looks actually, now that you mention it, it looks like
Yes, and then
Tactics.
compare that
Or
with Power Stone.
yes.
I think
There you go.
that's the conglomeration you're looking for.
Yes. That would be what I am looking for. Or a custom robo. Which actually you customize a robo in this game. The story centers around this robot, what do they call it? A Gizbot?
Yes. Gizbot?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a robot that that Sonic finds. Oh, Gizoid.
Yes.
Gizoid. Don't pronounce that wrong. So Sonic finds this Gizoid and names it Emerald. Which of course he's gonna name it almost Emerald because he has a one-track mind besides chili dogs.
You know what? I never put those two things together. I couldn't figure out why
Uh,
Emerald was the name.
it says Sonic names Emerald due to its ability to use the Chaos
Oh.
Emeralds. Great. And the whole story is revolving around Emerald, and it was like Robotnik's grandfather's robot, I think. Or
Dr.
oh
Robotnik.
no, he was a 4,000-year-old sentient
Yeah,
robot.
Dr. Robotnik discovered it, and then
Yep.
Eggman. What was the? I don't know. There's the.
Different Robotniks, by the
Well,
way.
yeah, okay. Hey, Dr. Robotnik's first name is Gerald.
No, it's not. So,
Are you sure? That's everything that I saw said his
yes.
first name is Gerald.
Dr. Eggman, who is also Dr. Robotnik, his first name is Evo.
Hold the phone. Hold the phone.
Or Ivo. Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik.
Time out. We're going. You can keep talking, I guess, but for the sake of the
I'm
podcast,
going
keep going. But hold on.
Yeah. So what's neat about Emerald is Emerald can learn a bunch of stuff. So uh, while every character in this game has their own moveset, you can play as just about any of the Sonic Adventure 2 characters. So Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Eggman, um, Rouge, E102 Gamma, all those guys. Emerald has the ability to equip different skills and attacks from each character, and you kind of customize your own fighter with him. It's actually a very neat system for for a GBA brawler.
Okay, hold on before we go.
Yes.
Here's
Yep.
here's here's what I read in multiple spots. Now you know more about Sonic lore than I do, so this could be wrong. But
I do. I used to read the comics. Yeah.
uh, let's see. Many years ago, a sentient weapon was created by an ancient civilization. After being lost for millennia, the weapon, known as the Gizoid, was unearthed and researched by Professor Gerald Robotnik. It
Yep.
remained dormant for another half century before being discovered by, of all people, Gerald's grandson, Dr. Eggman.
Right.
Okay, that's what I said.
So click Dr. Eggman. If you're in a Wikipedia, click Dr. Eggman. It says right there that his name is Ivo Robotnik. Gerald is his grandfather, apparently.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Then we were
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I needed
But
one more step. Got it.
trust me, the Eggman and Robotnik naming convention will always be confusing. It's like the Peach and Princess Toadstool thing. They're the same
So
person.
Gerald Robotnik has not been in any Sonic games. Dr.
Not that I know
Eggman
of.
slash
Dr.
Ivo
Eggman
Robotnik
has been.
has been the main antagonist. And okay, got it. All
Yes.
right, that's what I needed. See, this is why we do this podcast. Now I understand
Exactly.
Sonic.
So we got- oh, Gerald Robotnik has appeared in Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Well,
Fun.
neat.
Time to go play Sonic Adventure 2 again, I guess. It's on PC,
Oh,
I think.
Gerald.
Um so yeah, they have that neat mechanic with Emerald to customize him with like whatever moves from the other like 12 characters that you could be. It seems super neat. Otherwise, this game seems very shallow outside of it.
Shallow? What? How could that be? They have they have it seemed like they had pretty cool implementation with the GBA link cable. Um,
Sure, you could do uh, four
yeah,
player
they had battle
battles
modes and then
with
they
the.
had some mini games. They had Sonic Clash, Tails'
Uh huh.
Fly and Get, which might be the dumbest name for a game I've ever heard. Uh,
Yes.
Knuckles Mine Hunt, which is just a Minesweeper clone. Um,
All right. All right.
Amy's Treasure Island. I have no idea what the concept of that one was. I'm assuming you're digging for treasure. And then Shadow's Speed Demon, which is a side by side race. It looks from I only saw pictures of it. It reminded me of
Are they
Chrono
just Sonic
Trigger's.
levels?
What's that?
So are they just Sonic levels that you
Oh
play
no, they're
through?
like actual like mini games. So like they have different.
Oh, I meant specifically that one, the Shadow
Oh, I
race.
don't know. I got weird like Chrono Trigger bike vibes. You know, where you have to like race the bikes. Like it looked kind of dystopian
Yeah,
future.
yeah. I
Same
get
side by
you. I get
side
you.
going left to right across the
Like
so.
yes, absolutely. Um, what was I going to say?
Uh,
I
um,
don't. Oh. It seems like Big the Cat got the shaft. He is not in here at all, which is total BS. The best character from Sonic Adventure. Froggy's not here. Don't know what they're doing. Chaos is here though. This is here's the full roster: Sonic, Miles, Tails per hour, uh, Knuckles the Echidna, Amy Rose, Shadow the Hedgehog, Rouge the Bat, Cream the Rabbit, who was introduced in Sonic Advance, uh, E102 Gamma, who I thought was dead, and Chaos, who is the final boss of Sonic Adventure. He's the blue dude who eats the Chaos Emeralds. Um, it says E102 Gamma and Chaos are not playable in story mode, but they are playable in battle mode and challenge mode. Uh, and then Emerald is the other character. I don't know if I have much more about like the gameplay of this outside of like there's some Smash Brothers-esque things where you have an attack button and the direction that you're facing or the direction that you're pressing the D-pad while you're attacking might do different things.
Yeah, I don't have too much either. I again, the Discord, I've got some screen grabs of some of the mini games and some um just some gameplay videos. I also have two of the Japanese trailers. Those were kind of
Oh,
cool to
cool.
unearth.
Yeah. Actually, I do like some of the UI art style in this. It's very almost Jet Set Radio in its
Yeah, it
presentation.
actually is a little bit.
It has like some graffiti art look to it, which I think they did a lot with like the Sonic Advance games or like the portable Sonic games. Um, I guess moving on from the gameplay, the thing that really stood out to me, weirdly enough, is who published this game in is it just North? Yeah, it's in North America and in Europe. It's
They have been
THQ,
coming up a lot in this podcast,
the toy
which
headquarters.
I know now.
Um, yeah, so I didn't know this, but apparently I looked it up after I found out. Um, THQ and Sega had an ongoing publishing deal. This was right after Sega had closed down um, their hardware distribution. So they were kind of pulling back from being a publisher themselves and regrouping and starting to just release games. Um, where is this now? They had a deal going. I want to say since like 2003, but in 2004 they extended the deal for Sonic Battle and Sonic Advance 3. Um, I should note that the publishing deal was only for Game Boy Advance games.
Oh, okay.
So, because I think that was specifically something that Sega hadn't done before, obviously, because they were not a Nintendo developer previously. So having THQ's expertise on putting out cartridges on a Nintendo platform was probably the smart way to go. Seeing that THQ released like everything on Game Boy Advance. Everything.
Do you know how long that deal would have been in place? Like,
This just said it was extended to 2 new Sonic the Hedgehog titles scheduled for 2004 in the form of Sonic Battle and Sonic
oh,
Advance 3. So that's as far as I noticed. Mhm.
um,
Probably not too much longer after
yeah, I guess
that.
I don't remember ever playing a Sega game published by THQ, but if it was solely on Game Boy Advance, that would have been why. I never played.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think I had a Game Boy Advance, so
gotcha. Here, this is from October 11th, 2001. GameSpot article. THQ and Sega strike GBA publishing deal. Sega has partnered with THQ to bring 16 games to the Nintendo Game Boy Advance.
oh,
Uh, so yeah, I guess let's see here. Although Sega is developing the 6 announced Game Boy games, the remaining 10 games, which will cover both classic and new Sega properties, will be co-developed using THQ resources. Additionally, the two companies said that the agreement can be extended geographically on a case-by-case basis. The previous game, or the games that were on there, were Sonic Advance, Columns Crown, House of the Dead Pinball, Puyo Pop, Smash Pack, which was a bunch of Genesis games, and an unnamed MLB license game that would be released by March 2002. So
okay.
those were the beginnings of that publishing deal, which I find very odd.
So this game,
Mm-hmm.
uh, there's a greater Sonic universe, which I trust that you know more about. Did you
Sure
watch
is.
any of the TV shows or anything like that?
Back in the day, I watched like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, or um, there was one that was on like ABC Saturday mornings. Then there's one that was like a syndicated cartoon that came on like before Power Rangers during the
Okay.
week. One was like very goofy and very kid friendly. The other one was a little bit more mature and kind of not followed the comics, but maybe the comics took up that story afterwards. There's a lot of similarities between characters and situations between the ABC Saturday morning one and the comic series.
Gotcha.
But
So I ask because this game was actually referenced in some of the shows. The basis for the game was loosely adapted for TV in episodes 45 and 46 of Sonic X.
oh, okay,
The
yep,
story was later continued in Sonic Advance 3, which that's obviously not a TV show,
that makes sense.
and
Yeah,
is heavily referenced in Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. So this
huh.
game,
Which was the BioWare RPG. Do you
nope,
remember that?
that did not ring a bell at all.
That is that is a DS BioWare Sonic RPG.
Okay, all right, nope, that one,
Yeah.
that one
Do you wanna borrow a DS and a copy of that
slipped
game?
right through the old mind filter there.
Uh, that was a yeah, that's also a weird one. Sonic's been
Yeah,
some places,
that
man.
is that is true. Um, I mean, do you have anything else on the game itself? All right. I
No.
have just a couple real quick things. Sonic Team, being the developer, uh, known for a lot of Sonic games, maybe not so surprisingly, but that's not all they did. Some of the games that I pulled from the list of stuff that they've worked on include Nights into Dreams, Choo Choo
Mhm.
Rocket, Samba de Amigo, and Fantasy Star Online.
Yeah, they have their hands in a
So
lot of stuff.
90 like 80%
Yuji
of the stuff
Naka.
is Sonic games though. That is
Yeah,
butter.
totally. I mean, that's why they are called
Yeah.
Sonic Team. Yuji Naka, uh, who was company president of Sonic Team, who has since left, actually has a game coming out in March called Balan
Oh
Wonderworld,
yeah, I've heard of
which
that.
is which a lot of people say looks a lot like Knights because it does. Very, very similar art style. But that'll be a 3D platformer published by Square Enix, which is an interesting choice for all parties involved. But I think Yuji Naka had said like this would be his only chance to like work with Square or be able to do this game specifically. So like everything kind of lined up perfectly. So I'm very interested to see what that game actually is when it comes out. I know we'll be buying it here. My wife's very excited for it. It's it was like immediately she's like, I want that game. Just from the way it looks. It looks very cool, but
It's not one that I paid
yeah,
close attention to since hearing an announcement, so I want to go back and take a look at it myself then.
yeah, yeah. As a fan of 3D platformers, I think you should do yourself a service and check it out. I don't know.
Sure.
That was weirdly one of the games that before PS5 was coming out. That was one of the first games that Japanese YouTubers or like influencers got their hands on before like Demon Souls or anything that was like launching with the system. It was like Astrobot's Playroom or Astro's Playroom and Balan Wonderworld of all things. So weird. If you want to play a very good Sonic game, Sonic Mania came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was I
Ooh,
even enjoyed
ooh,
that one.
just play that. Just go play that.
If you want to play this game, you can get a
Hmm.
loose cartridge on eBay for $10.50. Um, I don't know if there's any other way to play it,
Yeah, I don't think it came to like any of the virtual consoles
which is a shame because
that I can think
it
of.
actually
Yeah.
has some pretty good reviews. Moby reviews range from 80 to a 50. Um, Metacritic sits at a 69, but for critical, but for users, it's actually at 8.1. So, you know,
Huh.
it's the
Yeah.
people have spoken.
Trust the people.
So That's all I've got on Sonic Battle.
That is Sonic Battle.
Should we move into game number 3? All right.
Please do.
We have ourselves a licensed game.
We sure do.
This is a third-person action adventure released in the year 2000 for both PlayStation and Windows. We drew the Windows version of this game. And it is The Mummy, developed by Rebellion Developments and published by Konami, which I thought was surprising.
And
And
Universal
Universal,
Interactive.
yes.
It was a co-publishing deal because, it's a movie. It's a movie tie-in. Universal's The Mummy.
Yeah, so I
with Brendan Fraser.
yes, the Brendan Fraser joint back when he used to act.
He still does. He's in Doom Patrol.
Is he?
Which is a
because
DC
there
comic
was
book
a story
show.
about him like a year or two ago as to why he gave up acting.
Yeah.
But good. Well, I'm glad he's back. I watched Doom Patrol.
I was surprised when I
I
saw it
like
myself.
Brendan Fraser. Encino Man.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, Encino Man's
good.
great. But Blast from the Past,
It's fine.
not so great, probably. The Mummy Returns.
Bedazzled, Bejeweled, Bedazzled. Is it Bedazzled?
It's probably Bedazzled with
It's one where,
oh boy,
he makes the deal with the devil, and the devil is
yeah.
that actress that was all over the place in the 90s.
Why can't I think of her? Nicole Kidman.
Oh, it's good. Hold on, we've got the internet. We've got the power.
We do.
I've seen the movie. I never played this game.
I've never played this game either. I did watch some video on it. And I will say,
Elizabeth Hurley.
Without a doubt, Elizabeth Hurley. Got it. What am I thinking of? Where Nicole Kidman's like a doubt? No, maybe that's just Bewitched. She's in
yes,
Bewitched.
there. Yeah, those.
That's
close,
it.
but
Yeah. Very very similar names. This without a doubt is absolutely a Tomb Raider clone.
Yes, it is. Okay, okay.
It's big enough to put now. That's it. Moving on.
Yeah, there was not much for me to pull here. Brendan Fraser's character's name was Rick O'Connell, which I was like,
yeah.
The coolest thing about this is that the fandom is called the Rickipedia.
I saw that. That's very very good.
Could have.
That movie's all right. This game looks okay as well. You're driving it with tank controls. Your jumps look very awkward, like they do in Tomb Raider. It doesn't seem like you have the acrobatic stuff that Lara Croft had. But you are rolling around with like a torch and with 2 revolvers that you can shoot mummies with. A lot of the gameplay has to do with environmental puzzles, finding secret buttons in the walls to like open up doorways and get to the next part of the tomb that you're in. And then you fight not the mummy that's in the title of the game, but you fight a lot of other mummies. Mummies with hammers, mummies without hammers. You just fight a lot of the undead for no reason.
I mean, there's a reason. It's just
I guess the mummy's alive. These ones are going to be alive too. Sure.
A mummy is a lot less intimidating when there's hundreds of them.
Yes.
But there was supposed to be a PS2 and an Xbox version as well as a Dreamcast version. None of them were released. The Dreamcast and the Xbox version were actually advertised, but never saw the light of day. So
weird.
Yeah. The big thing. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was gonna say it probably would have looked like the PC one, which looked clean.
Yeah, it looks better.
Pretty.
Yeah. I don't have it's a Tomb Raider clone. That's the best way to describe this.
Yeah, I mean, it looks very much like Tomb Raider for good or bad. It sounds like they used Brendan Fraser voice clips, which also sounded fine. But I didn't really see it doing anything super special,
Yeah,
to put it in a slightly mean way,
and
but
neither did Game Informer. You saw
what did they rate
they
it?
this is the lowest score I've ever seen on Game Informer, a 0.75. Right?
Oof.
I mean, that's not
Oof.
even that's not even like this is a game. This is it's not even claiming that. This is, I mean, I always thought that scale, like if you get down that low, it's literally I couldn't. The power button didn't work.
Yeah. I mean, this to me, just watching videos, it just looked like a PS1 adventure game.
Yeah,
like like nothing too out of the ordinary there. Like things look a little bit slow. Like tank controls are obviously going to be weird compared to modern controls.
yeah.
Um,
The bummer was,
0.7.
I know it was shock. I saw it in two different spots that weren't Game Informer. So I went back and I went to Game Informer's website. I looked at the legacy,
Yeah.
and sure enough, it had it as 0.75. And unfortunately, like those articles and those reviews are not there anymore. I couldn't
Huh.
read it, but I was
That's
desperate
weird.
to know. I couldn't even see who wrote it, which, man, maybe you
I
should.
wonder if I can get in contact
Yeah,
with someone there and see if they can find it in their archives.
yeah. See if
I am curious because I've seen some low scores there, and it's usually been things like uh, Ride to Hell. Is that what it's
the one.
called?
Yeah, I think the one where like
The motorcycle game. It's just real trash. Um, or Hulk Hogan's Main Event, which was a Connect game. Those scored super low.
but yeah,
But that's brutal. Which is surprising coming from a company like Rebellion, which is still around today, still making games. They've been kicking for a long,
yes, they
long
have.
time. Their name's changed a little bit. They're no longer. I don't think they're uh, Rebellion Developments anymore. I think they're just Rebellion. But the director of this game was Jason Kingsley, who is the current CEO of Rebellion. And he's been working on stuff for years and years. I didn't know they made Snood. Really?
I
That was their
what
handiwork?
Snoot is.
Developed for the Game Boy Advance. Snood is like
See, I'm missing it again.
a bust a move,
Okay.
where you're shooting like different colored gems at the ceiling to like match 3 or 4 to like break those to make things fall from the ceiling. That makes sense.
Uh,
It's a puzzle game.
yeah, I think I know. Okay, yeah, I know what you're saying. Okay,
You know the puzzle game with the bubble bobble
yeah,
characters. That's bust
okay,
a
yeah.
move. Yeah, yeah, it's one of those. Anyways, um, Rebellion still kicking today. Releasing things like Zombie Army 4, Sniper Elite V4, Strange Brigade, Rogue Trooper Redux.
That one came to the Switch recently. I remember.
It
I
it
was like,
did.
who wants this?
Actually, weird thing. Rebellion is also a comic book publisher. They own the rights to Rogue Trooper, so they put out the Rogue Trooper
Ah,
comics as well.
huh. So I can't. So they, yeah, I mean, they've been around. So this was a blip, a very
Yeah,
noticeable blip in terms of game. But Game Informer was actually real low, uh, compared
right,
to comparatively. I mean, this game by no means got good reviews. Weirdly enough,
right.
Moby score is another massive range, going all the way up to an 80. So somebody thought this was an 80, while Game Informer thought it was a 0.75. Professional reviewers. So
Yeah,
80 all the way down to a 0. And believe it or not, the Game Informer score as a Moby score would rate as an 8. So there was somebody who rated it lower than Game Informer. uh,
it would rate as an
an
8.
8 out of 100, because Moby score scales goes to 100.
Oh, got it. Yes, that's right. I'm like, so it's a 7.5. What's going
So
on here?
Metacritic currently sits at a 46 critic rating with a higher user score of 6. But yeah, that Game Informer 0.75 was that stood out.
Yeah, drags it down quite a bit.
I'm trying to think if there's anything, nothing too crazy that I could find really in that I was added to the Discord, but there's stuff in there nonetheless. But that's really I don't have too much else to say about the Mummy.
Me either. It was it was a licensed game. I'm sure it's to make money for the company to make whatever else that they wanted to make. So,
all right,
yeah, that's the Mummy. Probably not worth really looking into. Maybe go watch the movie, or go play the Mummy Demastered, which is a pretty good Metroidvania that's out on PS4 and Xbox.
That's true.
And I think Switch.
I mean, technically, that coincides with the most recent Mummy release, which was true trash.
It was okay. Yeah, I can find some enjoyment in that clock.
Okay.
So, in a way that like just watching things that are bad is fun.
Oh, okay. Those are always fun experiences.
But yeah, the game is much better than that movie.
Yeah.
Way better. Also, I reviewed that game. One of the few games that I reviewed in the last few years. So I go to XBLA fans and go find that review.
We'll post that review in the show notes.
Sure. Why not?
You want to see some of John's handiwork?
Also, if you need freelance work, let me know.
All right. Well, that sounds like a good time to take our break, huh? That's game number 3. Cool.
Yep.
We'll be back in a jiff. Okay. Welcome back.
Hey.
How was the break?
It's good. Yeah. Relaxing as always.
Awesome. Kate sent me a couple texts while I was recording. She's got a temperature going from 99.9 to 98.9, almost changing by the minute. So she feels fine. So I guess we didn't talk about this in the morning in the beginning, but we did find out that Jack has COVID, and obviously you knew about that. But we're just kind of rolling with it right now. He's feeling fine. He's feeling 100%. He was a little sick, not last night, but the night before, overnight. But he's been great ever since. Kate and I are not showing any symptoms yet, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, so not fun, but could be worse.
We all wish you luck.
Thank you.
Obviously, and it sounds like you guys are doing well so far. I know you're on temperature watch currently, so hopefully that doesn't turn out to be anything.
Yep, my beer still has good flavor, so
good, excellent. Yeah, that's half the battle.
Yeah, I have to always have a beer in hand during these times just to make sure that my taste is still there. So, all right, let's keep this train a rolling. John, I'm going to let you introduce game number 4 since it is a lot more up your alley than it is mine.
Sure. Yeah. This game is a 3D fighting game that we released on PlayStation 2 on November 11th, 2003 in North America. Developed by Hudson Soft and A-Ting. Published by Konami. This is Bloody Roar 4. The 5th Bloody Roar game.
I honestly thought that everywhere I went, somebody had spelled fighting wrong for the developer. I just assumed it was fighting.
Aiding is just a weird word to say.
It is.
But they're actually a pretty well-known fighting game developer. We'll get into that a little bit later.
And it's aiding, for you guys who haven't heard of them, it's EIGHTING. So like the number and the
like they are verbing the number 8.
Yeah, and it's a gross looking word.
Yeah, something weird there. Yeah, so this is Bloody Roar 4. Technically it's a sequel to Bloody Roar 3, but it was released after Bloody Roar Primal Fury / Bloody Roar Extreme on the GameCube and Xbox. This is sadly the final Bloody Roar game in the series. We have not seen one since, and I think it might be because of Bloody Roar 4.
So despite the 4, this is actually the 5th release in the series,
The
right?
fifth one,
Okay.
yes. Yep. The fifth within like 7 years. So they were
They went
just firing
hard.
them out.
Okay.
Bloody Roar is like I said before, a 3D fighting game. Kind of closer to like a Tekken than like an arena battler. You play as characters who start off as human, but turn into what they call zoanthropes, which are their beast forms. So every character has a beast form. There's a meter that you build up to turn into the beast. Your beast form gives you additional moves to use. I think your character's technically heavier for juggling. Um, Different moves will have different properties, and you'll have like special like super moves as a beast. So there are 18 characters in this game. Here are some of the beasts that these characters turn into. I'm not going to really list off the names of the people because I think they're less interesting than the animals themselves. Uh, there's a wolf, a rabbit, a lion, a tiger, a cat. Technically, the cat is a half beast. Um, that character had like a surgery to turn her into a cat of some sort, but the surgery didn't take. So now she's in like this weird in between. There's a mole, an insect, a leopard, a bat, a chameleon, a tiger, an unborn, which just looks like a robot man, an iron mole, not to be confused with the mole from earlier, a chimera, a dragon, a crow, and a spurious. I don't know what a spurious is.
I can't help you on that one.
Anyways, this game is pretty fast paced. Actually, I played a lot of Primal Fury, which is the GameCube version or the GameCube predecessor to this game. It's actually a really fun series to play. But with Bloody Roar 4, they made some changes. Typically, you'd have your health bar, you have your beast meter. Um, but in this game, you still have both of those. And while you're in human form, you build up your beast meter to then cash in to turn into a beast and play as them. In Bloody Roar 4, your beast meter is also a health meter, which is very odd. So that means if your human side health meter is drained, you immediately turn into a beast, and then you could play through the fight as that, which kind of interrupted the flow of gameplay quite a bit. A lot of players did not like it. Uh, it extended games in a weird way. It just rubbed people wrong. Seemed to be balanced poorly. Yeah, there's just a lot of weird issues with this game. A lot of the models were taken from Primal Fury, which isn't like a huge deal, but people for whatever reason didn't like that too much. Yeah, it was just pretty poorly received compared to the other Bloody Roars.
Yeah, I saw the in terms of sales, and I
Mm.
was trying to bring it up on VG charts, but that website has been slow. Probably because the game's so old, but it sold less than 90,000 copies. Um, outside
Yeah,
of Japan. I can't say for certain. It says it sold 0 copies in Japan, but that doesn't seem quite accurate. But that's the lowest total of the series by like a good margin.
right,
Um,
right.
and they sounds like they pushed the envelope a little bit with this one. This was the first one to carry an M rating.
It was, yes.
And then they had a little bit more up front where they actually did voice acting throughout the entire game. So they put a little
Mhm.
bit more into it and got a lot less bang for their buck.
Yeah.
So doesn't surprise me that this was um, the last entry in the series. If you guys were wondering though why I didn't have much to offer, it's because this game is so far out of my wheelhouse that John's a bigger fighting game fan than I am. I could
Right.
just find some of the details here and there, but
Yeah,
he's
and really, like, if you looked pretty hard, there's not a lot to talk about this game. A lot of it's it's definitely it seems like it was built on a smaller budget because they were taking assets from the previous game and bringing them over to a console that the previous game wasn't on. So I think it was a lot of like, all right, let's try to get money from the PS2 market because we only did GameCube and Xbox for the previous one. Before Bloody Roar Extreme and Primal Fury, um, Bloody Roar 3 was on PS2. Uh, Bloody Roar 2 was on PlayStation 1. The original Bloody Roar was on PlayStation 1. So it's been a PlayStation franchise for forever. So for whatever reason, they went to GameCube and Xbox, which they said is for the because of the specs of the machines uh, that they took the game over there. Not sure why they went back to PS2 besides like install base probably. But I can't find any like solid information on reasoning behind them flip flopping so much there.
yeah, that's
Um, I don't really have anything else with that. I will say this keeps catching my eye, but the original arcade version of this of the original Bloody Roar was known as Beasterizer, which is a incredible name. I really like Beasterizer. I hope it comes back as Beasterizer.
I guarantee you if they call this game Beasterizer, we're on the
Beasterizer.
13th iteration and it's going strong.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Yes.
do it.
Hell yeah. I mean, Bloody Roar probably should have by now. But yeah, for whatever reason, this hasn't been kept up as a franchise. Like I said, I thought it was really fun when I played Primal Fury. There's a lot of cool characters. The character designs are neat. The animal designs are neat. Um, with this one, they did ratchet up the blood effects, which gave it that M rating. Also, there's some costuming for some of the characters in this game that might have granted that as well.
The PS2 era jiggle physics.
Yeah, there's a lady who looks like she's just wearing a white strip of fabric over her chest.
Proper battle
Uh,
attire,
right,
obviously.
exactly. Yep, absolutely, 100%. Um, but since Konami hasn't done anything with Bloody Roar since this game in 2003, there have been rumors over the years that they were going to revitalize it. Back in 2011, there was someone tweeted from uh oh where did they tweet that from?
I'm hoping the story ends with it's now a pachinko machine.
Oh no, not even that. Uh Someone had tweeted from I want to say it was like the Hudson a Hudson uh development Twitter account that said that they were like get ready for a new Bloody Roar, and it turns out that account was not the official Hudson account. Hudson has been rolled into Konami itself over the years, so um, I think around that time that's when actually no it hasn't. Hudson's not with Konami,
Well, Hudson
but
was absorbed
Hudson's with
during
Square Enix, right?
Hudson Software.
Aren't they? Wait, hold on. Oh
That's
no, they are Konami. They're
yeah,
Konami.
that's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there.
They were. This was the first. How did they iterate it? How did they say it? It was the first game. Um, this game was released
Oh,
while they were transitioning.
right. Well, this says that they were bought. I guess Hudson closed in 2012.
Let me
But when
find
were they actually purchased?
the actual quote.
Oh, this game was also running on a different engine from previous Bloody Roars, which probably go into how this game feels a little bit different, how it's kind of odd compared to the previous titles. Um, what? Yeah.
Yeah, so what I
Did
found is
they?
Bloody Roar was co-developed by Konami during the period when Hudson was merging with the company. It
Got it.
was the first time that Hudson and Aiding were not the only organizations to develop a Bloody Roar game. So that could have
Got it.
led to some, the way the game was received as well. It sounds like quite
Yeah.
a time period that could have been kind of tumultuous for development.
Yes.
So it was also the first not designed with Aiding's own fighting engine. This time it was used
Right.
developed underwear.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So,
Which is very odd. Aiding, on the other hand, has gone on to make more fighting games. Most notably, they worked on uh, Tatsunoko versus Capcom for the Wii. They also made a little game called Marvel vs. Capcom 3 for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, which is very, very popular. Really helped revitalize the fighting game community. Most recently, they put out the port of Pikmin 3 for the Switch. So they're still kicking, they're still going. We should get some more fighting games in their hands, like a Marvel vs. Capcom, or a Bloody Roar. But you should put them on Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Someone should hire them. Capcom, hey Capcom, you should do that.
who currently develops those games?
I think Capcom did Marvel Infinite internally.
Do they need a kick in the pants? Is that what I'm understanding?
Apparently, yes.
Okay.
Oh, they absolutely yes for their fighting game division. Hell, yes.
Okay. I'm so
They've been
disconnected
doing
from it. So yes, do what John says.
they've been doing super well with all their other franchises. Like Monster Hunter's doing great. Resident Evil's doing great. Uh, what are Capcom's? Oh, I mean, like Mega Man 11 was good. I feel like they're doing right by a lot of their bigger franchises. And now they need to. I mean, we're probably not going to see a Street Fighter 6 for a few more years. I've heard 2023 or later. Because of COVID and all of that, they kind of extended out development for Street Fighter 5. But there have been like slight rumors for the past year or so that there's going to be something with Marvel vs. Capcom after Infinite bombed. This year is the 20th anniversary of Marvel 2, which is a huge, huge game. They were going to have a big tournament at Evo this year, but Evo didn't happen for a variety of reasons. So hopefully we hear something about that soon. But it's nice to see that Aiding is still around. A lot of times, these fighting game developers with like defunct fighting games don't always get another shot, especially with companies outside of the ones that they've been working with. So it's hopefully there's something in the future for Bloody Roar, which might be the case. Konami this year did trademark the Bloody Roar name again. That
Interesting.
could be for pachinko stuff. That could be not. Konami is starting to do a little bit more with collections of games. Like last year, there was like the Castlevania and Contra collections. So maybe, just maybe, Bloody Roar might still be alive somewhere.
There you go. Now, if you want to get in on that Bloody Roar 4 action, you can find a pre-owned copy for anywhere between 40 and 80 bucks on eBay. And I was actually surprised to see the scores where they were for a game that didn't. Well, again, it didn't sell well. That's the ultimate thing,
Right.
but it didn't have bad scores. ranging from a 77 to a 40, so very middle of the
Yeah,
road. Metacritic currently sits at a 59, so a little low, but the user score is actually an 8.5.
it's higher than I expected,
Yeah, like
actually.
that's a hell of a spread for critic to user for
Right.
Metacritic. So maybe there's a lot of diehard fans that decided that Metacritic was where they wanted to make their voice known. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what the future holds for Bloody Roar.
Yeah, hopefully a fifth or just a reboot altogether. The idea is very cool. I support it completely. It was cool to me back in like 2000 when I first played a Bloody Roar, and it's still cool to me now. So fingers crossed. Chris,
John,
we've come to our final game of the day.
yeah, yep, and this is always going to be our community vote game. So first, we'll start off with what the options were for this week. We had Capture the Flag, we had Woodle Tree Adventures, Mingle Magnet, Swarm, and Blaz Blue Continuum Shift. Is it Blaz or Blaze?
Please,
Blaze Blue Continuum Shift.
they don't have that E in there to make
It's
it
yeah,
official.
it throws me off. The good news is we don't have to talk about it too much because Woodle Tree Adventures was the big winner. Um, this is developed by Chubby Pixel, published by Chubby Pixel. It is a 3D platformer released in 2017. We are looking at the Switch version. The original release of this game was actually 2014. And I'd never heard of it prior to this. John, did you know anything about Woodle Tree Adventures prior to this week?
I I did not. This was my first experience with Woodle Tree Adventures.
Look at you now.
I know. I am now a man. I have 100%ed Woodle Tree Adventures on the Switch.
He's had a big week.
It was a big 3 hours last night. Yeah. So Woodle Tree Adventures. If you read the description for Woodle Tree, uh, which I will right now. Woodle Tree Adventures is an old school platform game with a catchy and unique art style. You will find all the classical elements from 90s games and new interesting ideas. Explore a total of 6 worlds and save the lands with the magical water drops you'll find through your journey, bringing back peace and balance and finally becoming the new hero. Um, this description also goes on to say that if you loved games like Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64, never fear. Whittle Tree will take you back to the good old days.
Ugh.
Um, Whittle Tree Adventures is a 3D platformer. You do go to 6 different worlds, which are just single levels. It's weird that they got the description wrong for what those water drops are. So the main collectible in this are 3. I think they're called fairy tiers that you're collecting from each level. They're just big blue water drop looking things. Your secondary thing are berries. Berries are what you use to purchase new items. Purchase is a loose description of what you do with them. But those are everywhere. Think of them like coins in a Mario game. You're traversing across very uh, basic levels. You can attack with a leaf that's used for defense, according to the game. To eliminate enemies that may or may not hit you with their body. It's really the only drama in this game is an enemy might run into you and you might die and you might go back to a checkpoint. Checkpoints that are woefully inconsistent. I've died in the same place multiple times and have been sent back to different parts in the level. Um, it, this really, I believe it was, but this really feels like someone's first game. That they learned how to create 3D geometry and make an approximation of a level and populate some items around it and call it a day.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, this was that, right? This was the
Right,
first
right.
game. So here, if you're gonna invoke the names of two genre-defying games and say like
Yep.
this is the next
I'll
thing,
take you back.
oof, that's gonna be a
Yeah.
tough sell every time, and it shows kind of a lack of, I think, maturity that you kind of I'm glad that you said, this feels like somebody's first game, because even the way it was discussed and promoted,
Yeah.
feels like, if if some of the bigger developers read that, they just kind of like slap them in the face, knock them down, be like, no, don't say
Yeah.
that.
Which I like. We talked about this last night. Like, I'm not going to go super hard on this game, mainly because it was this dude's first his first game, and I should name check him real quick.
Is it Fabio Ferrara?
Yeah, it is Fabio Ferrara. He is the head of Chubby Pixel,
Mhm.
and he's made many games since then, and a lot of them look a lot more complicated and a lot better. Which, like, I can't I can't give them any crap for releasing a game. Like, that's tough. Um, I I will say it's definitely not on the level of a Banjo Kazooie or a Mario 64. This might actually be an okay game to give like a younger kid who's like never played a platformer before to like kind of get the idea down.
Mhm.
Like, there's not a lot of complex platforming. There's some parts that are a little bit tougher, but I feel like a kid would have the resilience to keep trying and like try to master it. Nothing in there seems broken besides like the checkpointing. Um, it's fine. Um,
I saw
it's not. Oh,
I was just gonna say, I saw some things that made me this game has a lack of identity. Um,
yeah.
so I went onto their website and I was looking around. It's a, colorful, bright, colorful website, but they have quotes that they pull from different outlets. And there was this quote that it confused me so much to the point where I almost started my research over again. I could not
Wait,
for the life of me
is it
understand
the first one?
what's that?
Is it the first one from
Quoted
Indie
by
Static?
Indie Static. Yeah.
Yeah.
It made me not only question what I was seeing, it made me, once I was sure of what I was seeing, it made me wonder why in the world they would choose this quote as something for this game. They're quoted as saying, Woodle Tree is the Hotline Miami of the 3D platformer. What the hell
Mm-hmm.
does that mean? I, I sat there and I'm like, did I just look at like, is this game like a rope-a-dope? Like, is it actually horribly violent? Is it, what am I
Oh
missing?
no,
And then,
nope.
but that is a quote that they featured on their front page. And
Also, it says that it's indescribably pretty and out now.
yeah, there were the quotes that did kind of cycle through on another page too were just the most ha like quotes. I don't know. I found an article on Gamma Sutra as well.
Yeah.
Did you find this?
No, no, I
Okay,
didn't.
it's actually written by Fabio Ferrara.
Oh, cool. Good.
And I think this is a testament to the kind of developer and person that he is.
Right.
But the article is about the successive games that are reviewed negatively. Now that's my words. His article that he titled is called "Is Your Game Able to Sell Well Even If Despised by Critics?"
Ah,
So it's an interesting look at a developer who got some very harsh criticism for the game. The game sits at a
right.
28 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, I bought it for $2. Like, it's not expensive currently.
No, on
I think
itch.io it's $1.21.
yeah, and I think normally it's like 450 or something on Switch. It's not much. Um, and also like looking at it, I wasn't expecting much. I was actually expecting less than what was there.
Mhm.
So um I won't say I like despise it. I I think it's kind of boring. Um, but you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. And he has
Um,
gone on since then and made games. He's made a sequel to this, a couple sequels, Woodle Tree Worlds,
I
and
think they put a level from the sequel in this version of it, since this was Woodle Tree
Deluxe.
Adventures Deluxe.
Yeah.
I think there's an unlockable version or unlockable level because there's a little bit more freeform. Like they gave you the goal right away of like where you're supposed to put the fairy tiers, and then you could just kind of go and explore. Um, it wasn't much more complicated than the levels that were in this game, but it did run a lot worse because everything was like way bigger. There's a lot more enemies and berries on the screen, so there's a pretty big performance hit. I will say, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, for issues that this game has, the camera's pretty bad.
Oh, I
The
would.
camera follows you, but you only can zoom in and zoom out. You don't have a you can't turn it at all. So you can't like look behind objects. Um, you can't get like a better look inside like a door or something like in a room that you're going into. Um, there was one point where the camera got stuck, so all I could see was the lower half of my character at the very top of the screen. Um, so yeah, the camera is a little bit broken.
Which I think that's the least surprising thing that I think could be.
Right. I wasn't falling through the floor anywhere.
Yeah.
I wasn't there weren't any like questionable like platforming things that happened to me. Like everything was pretty expected. So yeah.
So, like I said, it is currently sitting at uh well, if you want to give it a shot, it costs you next to nothing. Itch.io, the standard price, this is not on sale. You can go to itch.io right now. Uh, it's $1.21. Yeah,
Hmm.
for a 3-hour 3D adventure game that John 100%ed.
Like I said, give it to a kid. I'm sure they'll love it,
There you go.
or at least like enjoy it enough for a bit. Like
So yeah,
platforming reminded me kind of a little bit like Roblox, like very very simple platforming stuff. So
okay. Yeah, movie scores range between a 50 and a 20. Metacritic, as
yep.
I said, sits at a 28, but it does have a 6 user score. So that's
Okay. Yeah.
it's higher than the critics. And
Yeah.
then Open Critic sits at a weak Open Critic rating, with the top average being 38 and 0% of critics recommending.
Sure.
But take that as you will. Understand that it's $1.21. Um, developer's first game, and they've gone on to get better. I mean, I think I looked at the Woodle Tree Adventures 2 Metacritic score, and it's sitting at a 70. So,
Oh, nice.
you know,
Yeah.
if if
Yeah.
if you can,
They seem to be a team that learns
yeah, exactly. And
and
that's what
grows.
that's why I was so happy to see that article. It's such a look at a developer who faced harsh criticism, but faced it in a way of, not, this is too hard, I need to step back. This is like, okay, let's use this. Let's pour that effort into the next game and see what happens.
Right.
It's awesome.
Uh,
So
they did actually just make a Series X update for one of their newer games called Suicide Guy.
did watch a little bit of that
Sleeping
trailer.
deeply, sleeping deeply. So, which is a completely different type of game. It's like a first-person adventure, um, and in kind of like surreal world. So, it's nice to see some evolution in style and focus. And yeah, I'm actually slightly tempted to check out what their newer stuff looks like, because
Yeah,
obviously this was their first go and it's been 6 years. They've been releasing like a game or two a year since then.
right.
So
So it could be a developer to kind of pull for. Little guy
yeah,
out there
yeah, exactly.
learning and trying to get better. So there's our 5 games.
Ew.
There we go.
Hey,
You know what we like to do
perfect.
now?
Rank them.
Rank them.
Let's rank them.
I don't remember who started last week. I should start writing that down.
You did
Did
last
I?
week, so
All
I'll
right.
start. Yeah.
John,
Yes.
go ahead. Give us your number 5 game of the week.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty easy number 5. Just don't really have much interest in playing it. I think there's other games that I could be playing that would do this a lot better. That would be The Mummy for PS1. I think I would rather, as much as I don't want to go back to play the original Tomb Raider, I would rather play that than this currently,
Yeah,
and everything else above it.
I'm going to follow you step for step on that one.
Yep.
Not only am I not a huge fan of the early Tomb Raiders,
Mhm.
which this is a replica of, the idea of looking at PS1's muddy textures in a gross tomb or cave with the browns and all that stuff, I don't think there's anything more visually unappealing
It's not great.
I can imagine right now. So,
Not
uh,
great.
yeah, the also 0.75. There's got to be something.
Something real broken
It's
in
got
there.
to be about the least amount of fun you can have with a video game. So, yeah, that's going to be
Right.
my solid number 5. What do you got
Cool.
for?
Number 4. Oh man, this one's tough. I think number 4 is gonna go to Woodle Tree Adventures. Partially because I've played through it already and I know what that game
You
is.
know what?
I just don't want to. I 100% it. I don't need to 200% it. Um, but, but yeah, it's a. I don't want to say it's a nugget of an idea that wasn't fully fleshed out. I think it was the idea was there, and they did it. I feel like they just took a lot of geometry that they knew how to make and just kind of put it around the world to platform on. Like, this is our level. Um, it's not super fun, but like I said, it was a starting point for them. So
Okay,
yeah.
that's fair.
How about you? Number 4.
Number 4 is Bloody Roar 4.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Guns
not
blazing.
yeah, that's right. Not a fighting game fan. Just in general, this game.
I'll get you
Good
there.
luck.
One day.
Um,
Let's play some dive kick.
I think that if I was going to play a fighting game that I probably wouldn't enjoy, the best
Mm-hmm.
fighting games I probably still would not have a good time with. Um, Bloody Roar 4 is nowhere near the top of that list. So I think it's even
Sure.
a bad way to get me into the series,
That's fair.
or get me into the genre as a whole. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, fighting games just don't have a lot of. They don't carry a lot of interest with me, and Bloody Roar 4 also was the death of the franchise for how it performed. So I got to think that it was kind of a letdown for people that were fans as well.
Right.
What do you
Uh
got for numero 3?
in number 3 is probably gonna be Bloody Roar 4. I'm a big fan of the Bloody Roar series, and seeing some of the I watched some videos, seeing some reactions from people who are also fans of Bloody Roar. I don't think I ever played this one at all, but seeing like some pretty deep reactions to like the beast meter being like a health bar. It just some of there's some weird inconsistencies with this game that weren't in the previous games. I think I would rather play like a Primal Fury or a Bloody Roar 3 rather than this.
Okay.
Also, I would like to play the other 2 games above it more than this, which is more important, right?
Yeah. I,
So we are ranking these compared to these 5 games.
right. This is a look at the 5 games that were offered us and what order would we place them. So I
Right.
think
Exactly.
you did it right. My number 3, right?
Yes. Number 3.
My number 3 is Sonic Battle.
Okay.
So again, we've got a fighting game, albeit this one's a little bit more unique. This one I could maybe get into. But boy, something about a 2D fighter on I'm thinking Power Stone, and I'm thinking, that game works okay, but it's just I don't know. In many ways, the mini games intrigue me more than more than the actual fighting part of the game. So
Right. Yeah.
that's usually not a good sign.
Yeah. Uh, so I guess that's number 2 for me is going to be Sonic Battle. Um, and the thing that brings Sonic Battle up this high in this particular list is I'm very fascinated with the customization of Emerald. That it takes every skill and move and like parts of combo chains for other characters and gives them to him to like for you to kind of mix and match and use how you want, depending on there's like a resource system to limit you. But I think that's really awesome, especially for a game that's just an offshoot of the Sonic franchise on Game Boy Advance. Um, didn't seem like it was going to be that big in scope, but I really like what they're doing with Emerald specifically, and you get to play with the other Sonic characters. So,
Mhm.
Sonic Battle number 2. Chris, what is yours?
My number 2 is gonna be what a week.
I,
My number 2
yeah.
is gonna be Ordyne. Um,
Hmm.
the side,
Mm,
I know, right? Which you know what my number
Chris.
1 is.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Which this has been a strange week. Um, the side-scrolling shooter genre is it's cool.
Yeah.
I like it, but I like it for about 10 minutes, and then I'm like, I don't think I can go much further with this. And that's the same thing. It's been that way with actually Gradius was my number 1 game, I think, last week.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, it was for both of us.
but I think that one had more of a like that nostalgia and that history tied to it. I don't have that with Ordyne. I like the bright, colorful look of it, and it does look fun. I played it a little bit on the website that I have attached in the Discord, and it was fine. It was great. I could probably have more fun with it with a controller, but it's just between that and the number 1, I think genre wise, uh, my number 1 speaks to me a little bit more than this one.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Yeah.
So
Well, we'll move on to number 1. My illustrious number 1 pick for this week for episode 7 of Procedurally Generated is Ordyne.
stamp it.
Uh, just
There it is.
stamped. Ordyne, a game that I did not know about further than 2 weeks ago. Um, it's it's a fun, cute little shooter. I feel like I could uh, get in. I could probably get into this game. It's only what like 6-7 levels. It seems like something I could probably knock out in an afternoon or two. The power ups seem cool. The characters are neat. Everything's bright and colorful and big and looks really cool. I would probably play Ordyne more than any other game on this list.
That's
Chris,
fair.
Chris,
And my
what's your
number
number one? What's your number one?
which should tell you more about the lineup of games as it relates to Chris as a video game player than anything.
Chris plays everything. Just want to remind you, he plays everything.
Also, I'm a variety streamer. No, Woodle Tree Adventures is my number 1. The idea of doing a 3D platformer, no matter how kind of bare bones, I guess it is, it's the most interesting thing that I saw on the list this week. And again, I think that just speaks to this was not a Chris week on procedurally generated
Not
in
at
terms of
all.
the
This is
games
more a John week.
that were shown up, like that showed up. So um,
Um,
knowing John has 100% of the game, knowing he probably would have liked to have done other things with his time. Uh,
I was laying in bed. Let's be real here.
there's something to be said for playing this game in that seeing you get to see the beginning for a studio that hopefully continues to get better.
Right. And it's a game that I really could have played the first level. Actually, initially I played the first level. I'm like, I get it. And then later in the night, I was like, I should probably try a little bit more. And I ended up just cruising through the rest of it.
Okay.
Because I wanted to see like what the power ups were. Because there were just like some leaves on some tree stumps outside. Like, what are these? They just have like numbers above them. They're not much. They just augment your weapon to like work at a bigger range. But it's not nothing that this is one of the few games that I've finished this year.
There you go. That's it's an interesting way to look at it as well.
It's right up there with games such as Trails in the Sky.
As games
And I
finished.
games I finished
Being
this
the
year.
only qualifier for this conversation, right?
I feel there's only one or two others. I can't remember them right now. So yes, those are. Oh, Ghost of Tsushima. That's a game that I finished
All
this
right.
year.
You heard it here, folks. Trail
As good as
Guy,
Ghost.
Ghost of Tsushima, and Woodle
Uh-huh.
Adventures are John's top 3 games of the year.
Top 3 games of the year.
Yep. Amazing.
You can only rank them for game of the year if you beat them.
That's true. Yeah.
It's what I've been told.
Yep.
But yeah, hey, I'm glad that that landed at number 1 for you.
And it was number 5 for you.
It's number 4 for me.
Was it 4?
Number 5 was The Mummy. We were both
Oh,
at The
that's right.
Mummy
That's
for
right.
number
Yes,
5.
The Mummy was
Get out of here.
wild by the co-host of this show. Wow.
So,
All right.
it.
That's it. And record time. Oh my god. What are you guys gonna do with the rest of your day?
Wow, this is like about 2 hours.
Yeah.
A little bit
After we cut everything out, yeah, it'll probably just be a little north of that.
Yeah,
But you're not done yet.
not yet.
If you guys want to participate in the show going forward, please send an email to pgshowinbox@gmail.com or reach out on Twitter at pg_show. You can also reach out to us in our Discord, which will be linked below. And obviously the Patreon, patreon.com/procedurally generated. We are still sitting $10 away from our first goal of getting this audio version up on YouTube. We would
I want to
definitely
start this new year coming up
Yes, that would be an amazing
with a whole
Christmas present,
new
guys.
YouTube channel.
Christmas, it's the season.
I want to give you more content.
That's true. Yes, I mean the YouTube it serves two purposes. It gets us, it gets us in front of people that want to enjoy their audio podcast through YouTube, but it also gets us moving on creating a procedurally generated YouTube channel, which we haven't done yet.
If you want to see an entire playthrough of Woodle Tree Adventures, it
That
might
means
go
you
up on.
play through it again. You didn't record that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I thought about it.
All right.
I really did, but Chris hasn't played through it yet, so.
And it was my number 1 game of the week, so I'd be an idiot not to.
Right.
But yes, so please reach out. Keep listening. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Call
your mom.
Strangers. Go get a phone book. Just go to the K's and start dialing. Let people know. Don't be rude though, on behalf of us. Anyways, but that being said, all the support and stuff like that we do have, we gotta say some thank yous.
Yes.
To the people that have been with us so far. This is going to be episode 7. We've had people join us along the way, but we've got Jody and Mecha Sprite at the platinum tier. We've got X Chin at the gold tier. We have Lone Wolf, Tori Glumac, Kate, my wife, and Tim G at silver tier. And then we got Jason Daphnis and John Carson at the $3 tier. I don't think I missed anybody, right? I think. I don't think Ozzy Gamer.
Oh, Ozzy.
So sorry.
Ozzy, legend.
Yes, a bloody legend.
A bloody legend. He called me that once on stream. I'm like, how do you know me?
Oh,
he knows.
He listens to the podcast. Come on.
That's true.
That's
very true.
Outside of the U.S.,
wow,
Australia is our next largest territory in terms of listens. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's Verdant Tree and it's Aussie.
It's Aussie. It's maybe Fox.
Oh, Fox. Yeah, Fox is there too,
Just
huh?
some tremendous Aussies. We love our
We
Aussies.
we owe everything to our Aussie listeners.
That's right.
Everything. We love you. We hope to see you soon. Even our non-Aussie listeners, everyone.
Absolutely. But thank you guys so much for listening in. If you enjoyed the show, please, please, please leave us a 5-star review, retweet our tweets, like our tweets. You know, we this has been, again, I said it earlier, we were on a little bit of a downtrend over the last couple of weeks, but this is the first week we've turned the corner. We've gone back up a little bit. So, and we're expecting that. That's exactly how this should go. We've got some things in the works to try to promote a little bit more and try to keep things rolling. So we expect more community interaction, more community engagement, and hopefully more content for you guys sooner rather than later. So we love you guys. Stay safe. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.